Councilors, please, let's get ready for the meeting. 1 minute. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Recupero? Here. Councilor Teneri Garcia?
Present.
Councilor Robinson?
Here.
Councilor Taylor?
Here.
Councilor Lopez?
Here.
Councilor Vega Maldonado? Councilor Brown?
Present.
Councilor Vido?
Present.
Councilor De Jesus? And Councilor Judy Garcia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 members.
Councilor
present.
De Jesus did call and say she was unable to make it tonight. She has illness.
Okay.
Thank you.
You have 8 members present, Mr. Chairman. First order of business. Memorials and celebratory resolutions. We have a resolution introduced by Councilor Brown, all members of the City Council, in memory of Louise Marshall Robinson. Whereas the Council of the City of Chelsea honors and commemorates the life of the late Louise Marshall Robinson, and whereas Louise Robinson was born on December 25th, 1927, in Dawson, Georgia, the 12th child of Annie and O.B. Marshall, who attended the public schools of Terrell County, Georgia. And whereas on November 2nd, 1948, Louise Marshall wed James Ivor Robinson, and to that union, 8 children were born, including Donald Curtis Robinson, Gwendolyn Robinson, Grenée Irena Ann Wilkinson, James Robinson Jr., Mamie Robinson Lopez, Terry Robinson, Jacqueline Perry Robinson, and Margaret Robinson Williams. Whereas Louise Robinson was a loving and attentive wife, devoted mother, loving grandmother of 14, and proud doting great-grandmother of 27, who demonstrated her love for Christ and instilled in her family a strong devotion of the Lord and a sense of responsibility to those less fortunate. Whereas she was a Christian who practiced her faith in daily life, who's active in congregation wherever she lived, served for many years in the favorite ministry as an usher, and served on other committees as needed. She was a member of the Emmanuel Baptist Church in Malden. And whereas Louise Robinson was a woman of courage, strength, and integrity, she gave unselfishly to others, and her wisdom, her intellect, her thirst for knowledge, and her enthusiasm for living each day to the fullest will not be forgotten. Whereas she was known for her outsized sense of humor, kindness, energy, and graciousness that enriched those fortunate enough to know and speak to her on the corner of Spruce and Hurd Streets. And whereas Louise Robinson was a resident of the city of Chelsea, Massachusetts for 63 years and passed away at the age of 94 on September 1st, 2022, now therefore be it resolved that the city of Chelsea extends its deepest sympathy to the bereaved family in the passing of your beloved Louise Robinson, and knows memory of all members stood in tribute and reverence, and that when the council adjourns this day, to do so in memory of Louise Robinson.
What's the will of the council?
Adopt this unanimously on the suspension if there are no objections.
Well, communications adopted.
Next one.
Yes.
The next resolution is introduced by Damali Vido and all members of the City Council, Eduardo Budge Day. Whereas for 26 years, Dr. Eduardo Budge was a primary care physician through MGH Pediatrics in Chelsea, and also worked as a pulmonologist through Cambridge Health Alliance. And whereas 70% of Chelsea residents are of Latino descent, and Dr. Eduardo Budge provided care to thousands of families while speaking their native language. Whereas
Mr.
Chelsea,
President, can I just
Yes.
ask that we waive the reading and just read the resolved part?
you want me to go to the reason?
Just skip it, yeah?
Thank you, Councilor Vidal.
Okay, now therefore be resolved that we, the City Council of the City of Chelsea, hereby acknowledge October 5th, Today, Dr. Budge was born as Eduardo Budge Day, and let it be further resolved that Eduardo Budge Day, October 5th, be celebrated by displaying the kindness, compassion, joy, curiosity, and connection to one another that Dr. Budge demonstrated in his life.
What's the will of council?
Move to adopt unanimously under suspension if there are no objections, and I'd like to speak on it, please.
Okay, so forward. Okay, Councilor DeVoe, you got the floor.
Thank you. So this resolution is to honor Eduardo Budge, who was a long-term MGH pediatrician here in the city for over 26 years. He passed away suddenly last year visiting his family in Peru. When Chelsea's MGH clinic used to be at the top of Bellingham Hill years ago, he was a pediatrician there. He was one of the only Spanish-speaking doctors at a time when it was scarce in this community. And so it's funny because you see young children that were his patients, and then you see 40-year-old people in the community that were patients of Eduardo Budge. He was key in starting a Chelsea asthma program, recognizing that Chelsea had one of the highest rates of asthma in the state. He was a community doctor. He was involved and would show up at events and protests, and he just really embodied community. Everyone that knew Dr. Budge loved him. Patients from all over the world would bring him bread and candy from everywhere, and he would share with everybody in the office. He advocated for administration. He advocated for maintenance workers. This man embodied community, and so I wanted to make sure that we were acknowledging his life and that it wasn't in vain. And MGH hosted an event for him this past Friday where his family had came from all over, and doctors who had retired for years came to pay their respects and love to the family, and it was a beautiful event where I was able to provide this resolution to his daughter, who's a resident right now and hopefully following his footsteps. So I just wanted to make sure that I didn't want them to just read this and sometimes you don't hear it. I just wanted to make sure to acknowledge Dr. Eduardo Budge, to acknowledge Dr. and thank him for his contributions in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Vito. Anyone else like to speak on the resolution? So, next resolution.
Next one.
Yes, sir.
Next resolution introduced by Councilor Robinson, all members of the City Council. Chief Brian Keyes. Whereas Chief Brian Keyes has officially announced his retirement on October 7th, 2022 from the Chelsea Police Department. Whereas Chief Brian Keyes started his career at the Chelsea Police Department in June of 1987, over 35 years ago. Whereas Chief Brian Keyes was first promoted as Sergeant 1994, Lieutenant 1996, Captain 2002, and then Permanent Chief of Police in 2007. Whereas Chief Brian Keyes worked in this position for 15 years, exemplifying true leadership skills, which has brought positive recognition throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and made the community of Chelsea very proud of this accomplishments. Now therefore be resolved that we, the members of the Chelsea City Council, on behalf of the entire community, wish you success in your new career as U.S. Marshal for the District of Massachusetts, and thank you for your dedication, services, and leadership to our community.
Adopt this unanimously under suspension if there are no objection. Just,
No objection. Would you like to speak, Councilor?
Just briefly, he was sworn in a couple weeks ago as the U.S. Marshal, and he's presently working at that position at this time. And nothing but the best to Brian. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak on the resolution? So none? Next meeting.
We have approval of the minutes, City Council meeting, October 3rd, 2022, and the minutes of October 17th.
Councilor Lopez like to accept and file the minutes under suspension. Is there no objection? Okay, thank you, Councilor.
We could go to public speaking now.
Yeah.
Public speaking?
Anyone like to speak to the city council? If you like to speak to the city council, this is the public meeting portion. Please state your name and address. You have 5 minutes to speak from the podium. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President and honorable city councilors. My name is Roseanne Bongiovanni. I live at 7 Bell Street, and I'm here today to ask you to please accept the donation of land at 212 Congress. We have an amazing opportunity in the city this evening where a private landowner has offered a piece of land to the community of Chelsea for open space purposes. This piece of property is critically important. It's in one of the hottest neighborhoods, as we all know. Chelsea is an environmental justice community. We have some of the hottest neighborhoods in the entire greater Boston area. And even within Chelsea, which is an entire heat island, there are neighborhoods that are hotter than others. And we've been monitoring this, this piece of land and this block, this whole area with our partners at the BU School of Public Health and the city of Chelsea. And we've mapped the entire city and shown that this is one of the hottest areas. And a significant difference could be had through an integrated implementation of a cool block approach. So what we're proposing to do and what we've been continuing to do is implement street-wide, neighborhood-wide street trees, the implementation of a white roof on the Boys and Girls Club, additional reflective paint, and the transformation of this piece of property into a new lush green space. And so as you have this opportunity in front of you today, I hope that you'll think about all of the children, the families, the elders who have been involved in this effort over the last 2 years. You'll hear from so many in this community, and there are many, many more who couldn't be here tonight, but said that they were sending emails and stating their support through surveys for just how much this open space has meant to them and will continue to mean to them. So I think we have a really unique opportunity in the city of Chelsea to take land from a private developer and make it public property for green space that is so badly needed. We all know that Chelsea has some of the lowest rates of green space and tree canopy cover in the entire state, and so this is an opportunity for us to get it right. So I implore you tonight and congratulate you in advance, because I know that you'll want to adopt this piece of property as public land, and we'll all celebrate it in a few years as an amazing transformation of one of the hottest neighborhoods in the summer to one of the coolest. Cool and cool. So thank you for considering this request tonight.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the city council at this time? Please speak your name and your address, please.
Hello, my name is Bianca Navarro Bowman. I don't live here, but I work in Chelsea at Green Roots. May I pass out packets to you all? Is that allowed? Okay, great.
Thank you.
Good evening, honorable city councilors. I'm the climate justice organizer with Green Roots. Thank you so much for all the work that you do representing and supporting your community as public servants. It's an honor for me to speak to you all tonight on behalf of the community members that I have been working with for the past year at and around the 212 Congress Avenue space. I am grateful to have had the opportunity to be working on activating this space and seeing the excitement and passion from all of the neighbors who have become involved. Over 1 year ago, we began holding events, meetings, and knocking on doors within the closest blocks of this lot and asking neighbors what they thought of this space and how it could be used. It's an empty lot. As you can see within the packet, for many years, for decades, it's been underutilized. We've knocked on and flyered at over 400 doors surrounding this lot, and many community members have mentioned that their neighborhood is home to a wide variety of children, teenagers, families, older folks, and dogs. Some people are new to the neighborhood, and some have been in the neighborhood for 20, 30, or their whole lives, 20, 30 years, or their whole lives. As you can see in your packets, using research conducted with the Boston University School of Public Health and the City of Chelsea, this neighborhood was determined as an extra hot pocket within the greater heat island of Chelsea. It's highly residential and very dense. There's a very low number of mature trees to provide shade for residents, and many residents in this area have very little access to nature and green spaces. So many neighbors have also mentioned how hot it is in the summer walking around this neighborhood and how meaningful it would be to have a place to sit, relax, and have a calmer space to be in the form of a public green space or park. Over the summer, with the Boston Society of Landscape Architects and with the help of over 30 neighborhood volunteers, some of whom are here tonight, we built a temporary park installation that was designed using the opinions and thoughts from many surveys and meetings with community members. As you can see in the photos, this space created an incredible place for people to spend time with their neighbors and their families and transform a place that has been collecting trash, debris, and heat for decades. In voting to accept the donation of this lot as city property, you would be guaranteeing that this space would be able to be accessed by hundreds of neighbors and their families for years and years to come. you would become a part of the process of changing this community space for the better, improving the health and resilience of this area of Chelsea as the climate warms. And these neighbors deserve more green spaces for people to receive a respite from the growing heat, a place for all generations to gather year-round. And I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you. I'm so happy to see many of you in person. I gotta change my glasses. Okay. I'm
Excuse me,
Madeline,
can you speak your name and address, please?
Madeline Scammell, 59 Eleanor Street, Chelsea. Thank you, Councillor Brown. I've lived in Chelsea for 22 years. I'm an associate professor of environmental health at Boston University School of Public Health. My degree is a Doctor of Science. Most of my research is in El Salvador and Nicaragua, where kidney failure is the leading cause of death in young working-age men. And after years of investigation, all evidence points to extreme heat and physical exertion as the reason for this epidemic. Efforts to prevent disease are focused on reducing heat. In 2017, a news article on urban heat islands in Massachusetts featured Chelsea, where people experience some of the highest summer temperatures in the region and where people are most vulnerable. People with pre-existing respiratory conditions are more likely to be hospitalized during extreme heat events, and people with kidney disease suffer more. More adverse physical and mental health outcomes are affected by extreme heat, and no one is immune. On regional land surface temperature maps, Chelsea stands out, and within Chelsea, the area around 212 Congress Ave is even hotter. I've worked on air quality issues in the city of Chelsea for years. Former Councilor Avellaneda, current councilors Vido, Lopez, Judith Garcia have all highlighted air quality concerns in the city and been leaders in protecting environmental health, trees, and green space, and nearly all of you have worked as leaders in environmental justice. Councilor Recupero is a champion in his district. In December 2019, my colleague, Dr. Fabian, and I received a grant from the Barr Foundation to study heat in partnership with Green Roots, and we've also worked closely with housing and community development in the city. Having identified the areas between Congress and Maverick, Willow and Highland as a hot spot, we are studying solutions. We call the area the Cool Block because of our efforts to make it so. And around the Cool Block, we have ambient monitors in trees, on signs, and surface monitors on the ground, and monitors on the roof of the Boys and Girls Club, which will be converted from black to a more reflective roof that absorbs less heat. Today is November 7th, and we are experiencing record high temperatures. How we prepare for extreme heat as a community is of utmost importance, and this Cool Block effort reflects investments by foundations, state agencies, the city, the BU School of Public Health, and Green Roots, and has been covered in local and national media. It is unusual and exciting that the owner of 212 Congress is in support of this work, and I hope you will accept the very generous offer of the land. Thank you.
Thank you. Madeline, before you leave, can you just spell your last name for the clerk, please?
S-C-A-M-M as in Mary, E-double-L.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak before the council? You gotta call it. Up to the next speaker. It's probably the next person.
Good
Please state
evening.
your name and address, please.
Patricia Fabian. I live at 33 Anthony Road in Bedford, Massachusetts. Hello, Chelsea City Council. This is the first time I'm actually here. I'm an engineer. I do work in housing and indoor air and buildings. I'm also an associate professor with Dr. Scammell at Boston University School of Public Health. And I worked in Chelsea for several years with the city, residents, and community organizations on issues such as air pollution and heat. As Dr. Scammell mentioned, we're currently studying extreme heat in partnership with Green Roots, and this is our 4th year that we do this. What we've done, as Dr. Scammell said, is we've measured temperature around the city, outside on streets and parks, and indoors in Chelsea resident homes. I want to share some of what we've learned so far. Although all cities are hotter than the suburbs or rural areas, Chelsea is hotter. When you look at the temperature on your weather app or on the news, if the temperature says 95 degrees, in Chelsea it's around 100 degrees, so 5 degrees hotter. This is on average across the whole city though, and we've measured this with our sensors. In Chelsea, there's also heat islands or hot pockets, which means hotter neighborhoods. For example, on a hot day, when the temperature at Mary O'Malley or Island End Park is 95 degrees, on Broadway and 3rd Street, it's 102 degrees, 7 degrees warmer. Museum of Science Boston has also found Chelsea heat islands in their Wicked Hot Mystic maps. You can find those online. Now, what do we know about 212 Congress and the surrounding neighborhood from our sensors? First, that the 212 Congress neighborhood isn't one of these Chelsea heat islands. It's hotter than other parts of the city. The neighborhood is densely populated, meaning more people and more houses. It's a place where kids walk and hang out because on one end is Boys and Girls Club, as you know, and then Highland Park. That means that people living here are more vulnerable to extreme heat. And it matters because extreme heat can cause dehydration, heat exhaustion, dizziness, inability to concentrate. And in extreme weather, for example, some of the hot waves that we had this summer, it can cause death, particularly in vulnerable residents like older adults and younger kids. Parks are one of the cooling solutions that cities all over the world and in the US are investing in. Adding a park, even a small one, reduces neighborhood heat islands. That means if you look at a temperature map of the city and you add parks, it eliminates all the red spots or all the hot pockets. But there's other benefits. When residents feel hot indoors, for example, and they don't have air conditioning, parks are a place where they can cool off under a shady tree, kids can play in water fountains, and residents can connect with each other. All of these benefits impact health in a good way. So turning the lot at 212 Congress into a public park can provide all these benefits and is an opportunity because land is rarely available in cities as urbanized as Chelsea. So I urge the city to accept this land.
I'm sorry, can you also just spell your last name, please?
Yeah,
Ms. Scott?
Fabian, F-A-B-I-A-N.
A-B-I-A-N. Thank you.
Be like boy.
Chair, yeah, she was finished. Yeah. Chair recognizes Council Robinson. Is there no objection?
Can we take out of order the fact, the gift relating to the land at 212 Congress Avenue? And we can also take the
Councilor Robinson
order.
is asking if we could take out of order the order regarding the matter. If there's no objection,
Public speaking, because we haven't even asked.
if you object, it's already, it's done. Do you object?
I'm asking you just to adhere to the
Public
agenda.
speaking is still going on.
So then I object.
So, okay, public speaking. Anyone likes to address the council, please?
Well,
That's why I told them to get it together.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wafa.
Your name and your address,
Yep.
please. Thank you.
My name is Wafa El Hidar, and I'm a resident of Chelsea, 250 Congress Ave, Unit 47, Chelsea. And as everyone else, we've been like having hope, and we've been having a lot of expectation from that area. Once we have our friend came into our house, giving us like giving us survey to fill out regarding what we want to have there. We've been all agreed to have like space green with like place where we can have some relaxed time, some time like where you get fresh air. We were so disappointed to see that nothing has been done during all this time, during all this waiting. Our kids were having a lot of hope. We've been waiting, all of us, but unfortunately nothing was done. And as everyone else, we would like that place to change. We are looking for like another new Chelsea that's coming in next 1 or 2 years maybe. As you can see, there is a lot of like new building now. There is a lot of innovation in Chelsea. It's gonna be done sooner or later. Like, why we have to do the job 2 times? Like, since we have this opportunity right now, we can take advantage of it. As I said, like, we would like to see something like Boston, East Boston area. We don't need to travel all the way to other places to get that time where you can like enjoy some fresh air and some green space. We would like it to be done near us, and we would like our kids to have the right to see like new space, new green space in Chelsea more often, which is not the case, unfortunately. And that's another opportunity that we would like you guys to take consideration and like to help us have like our kids enjoy that green space. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Anyone else like to speak for the council? You may. Please speak your name and your address so we can.
My name is Estela Lasso. I live in 118 Maverick Street in Chelsea.
Thank you.
My home is located right in front of the green space, I've lived in my home since 1999, so it's been abandoned for quite some time. Usually it's a dumping ground. Most abandoned TVs, mostly trash is just filled all the time. We have neighbors who have dogs that come and, you know, and they make a mess of the space. And I've been very thankful for Green Roots. As Bianca mentioned, there's flyers passed out through the residents, and being one of them receiving the flyer, I wanted to participate because I've seen that it's right directly in front of my house. I've seen nothing come up of it, and I thought that it would be such a great place to have my children. I have a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I also have a 16-year-old. So just the transformation over the summer has been such a great, you know, place for my community. I've met neighbors that I haven't seen or known in a few years, and made friendships there. So I am very grateful for what Green Roots has done for that community. It's impacting it, and just there's a swing in that park, and it's broken 3 times. So if you can imagine a swing being broken 3 times, we would love to have a park, and I think our children would appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, the young lady's gonna speak. The young lady's gonna speak. You can approach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my name. Okay. So my
You don't
name
have
is
to
Arwa.
put your address, just your name. Yeah, you don't
Okay.
have to put
So
your
my
address.
name is Arwa. I am 11 years old, and I live basically
That's-
like right behind the park, or at least area. And so I would really appreciate it if we had a park, because due to like how many years I've lived here, that area has always been like a parking lot, and there's like garbage, trash, you know, waste. And I decided that, we decided that although like there's technology now and like tall buildings and stuff, and we decided that we also would like play an area, like a green space where families could sit, talk, have fun, and the kids could play in swings and like a literal playground. And because, like everyone has been saying, like here it's very hot, we would like a place where there would be shade and everyone could sit down and relax, and we can have a pretty good summer. Although this might not seem as much, I tried my best. But I would really appreciate it if we had a park, or like at least a lounge, where everyone can come together, celebrate, have parties, and of course, clean up after yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My
Good
name is
evening.
Oscar Lazo. I live in 180 Maverick Street in Chelsea. So I would like to ask if it's possible if we can have a park over there, because it's so many construction around, so many buildings. If you across the street, it's going to be like Ines Apartment Central Avenue. They're rebuilding right now. It's going to be a lot of kids over there. It's a lot of families. So the kids need a place for, for help to play and be a kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ok, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Nerissa Maya. He vivido alrededor de 40 años acá en Chelsea.
I've lived in Chelsea for about 40 years.
He vivido 20 años en la calle Maverick
I live in 20 years in the Maverick Street
y 20 años en la Essex Street.
and 20 years in Essex Street.
Y la verdad que la niña que acaba de pasar me puso como... Yo todo el tiempo quise que mis hijos tuvieran esta oportunidad.
The little girl just spoke actually put me on because I always wanted my child actually to have the same opportunity.
Tengo 3 hijos y son nacidos acá en la ciudad de Chelsea, la cual ellos aman mucho, y 2 nietos.
I have kids that have been born actually here and they love this city and also my grandsons.
Entonces, en realidad queremos decirle a la ciudad de Chelsea, en la 112 Congress es uno de los vecindarios y todo ese sector, como las otras calles, incluyendo en la calle donde yo vivo actualmente, que es en la Essex, que está cerquita, en el mismo sector.
I wanted to tell you, like all of us actually wanted to tell you that on 112 Congress is one of the neighborhoods, all of that around those sectors and all those streets around.
Que no se repita, que no se respira en realidad un aire agradable.
That you're not really breathe something real nice, or something nice coming from you.
Puesto que tenemos los volcanes de sal
'Cause we
y
have
el humo de los camiones que salen y entran recogiendo esa sal.
Because we have the salt volcanoes and all the smokes that coming out of those trucks that coming in and out from that area.
Yo le pido a la ciudad de Chelsea que sea más consciente para que hayan más árboles, más parques, ya que nos han inundado con muchos, demasiados condominios en realidad. Necesitamos más espacios verdes. El calor es demasiado extremo. Solo esperamos que no sea otro desarrollo de viviendas en ese lugar.
So we want to ask the Chelsea City actually if we can help us to have more trees, more parks and stuff like that actually. And now with swamp with all these condominiums, buildings and all this, we need more green spaces.
Por favor, necesitamos más parques, más árboles, incluso hasta una fuentecita en ese parque, puesto que allí los niños esperan las paradas de los buses cuando van a las escuelas. Es bien, bien importante y en realidad yo le agradezco a la organización de Green Root por tomar también en cuenta a su comunidad. Muchas gracias.
Yeah, we need more trees and we need more, even at a fountain actually, because even the kids actually wait for the bus to pass by that park. I wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hola, muy buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Silvia Pérez, vivo en la 98 de la Maverick Street, apartamento 2.
Mrs. Perez,
I live on Maverick Street, 98, apartment number 2.
Estoy muy contenta con Green Roots, que me ha invitado siempre a ser parte de ellos para poder decorar esa área que antes era un parqueo abandonado y un lugar muy sucio.
Yeah, I wanted to thank Green Good actually for inviting me to participate actually in this, to decorate this place. It's actually, that place used to be a place really dirty and it was a lot of mess down there.
En lo poco que pudimos hacer durante el tiempo de verano, pues mis hijos, tengo 2 hijos y mis hijos se disfrutaron haciendo las actividades con Bianca.
Yeah, for the little time actually my kids enjoy very much all the activities actually we did with Bianca.
En la reunión que hubo la semana, como hace 2 semanas también, yo estaba dando esta otra opinión porque miraba a los niños en la mañana y era muy contento para mí ver a las mañanas a los niños emocionados en ese columpio, pero como decía nuestro compañero, el columpio cada poco se rompe y lo vuelven a reparar.
Yeah, well, I expressed my opinion at the other meeting we had, actually, like the other person was saying about the swing, actually. The kids were enjoying it very much, and it got broken and actually got repaired back up again.
Bueno, siempre he dicho que entre más entretenidos esté la comunidad de Chelsea y a la misma vez emocionada yo por mis hijos, entre más entretenida tienen la mente los niños, esto los motiva a tener mucha actividad física y a entretener sus mentes en actividades físicas y no estar en casa con un iPad, con un teléfono todo el día.
The more entertainment actually we can give our kids actually to be outside in the park and doing activities like that instead of being at home with the iPads and electronic devices is better.
So, desde sí, pues agradecido con ustedes, cada uno de ustedes, por darnos el tiempo, por estar acá también. Eso es muy valioso para nosotros y esperamos pues que sea un parque mejor para los niños también con Green Root. Buena noche.
Thank you actually for your time, and I hope actually this be a big improvement on this park, and thank you for Greenwood.
Thank you. That's fine, Councilor.
That's not related to the 212 Congress order.
So anyone object to that notion, Councilor Haven? Okay, so question's been asked. Is there anyone else other than who wants to speak either in favor of the 122 Carter Street? So if you are not here for that, if you got something else you want to speak to, we'd like to hear you because they want to take that motion up as soon as possible. So is everyone here for the Carter Street, the park, the proposal of the park? Any other speakers would like to speak before the council? Okay.
Hello, my name is Graham Matozo, Moitoso. Yeah, sorry. My name is Graham Matozo, Moitoso. I live at 47 Cornwall Street, number 2 in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts. I also am a student at Northeastern University, and I was hired through the Boston Society of Landscape Architects, who we worked with Green Roots this summer and the BU School of Public Health. And I just wanted to reemphasize how important the process was in the development of this park over the past summer. As we heard earlier, there was over 30 residents of Chelsea who constantly dedicated their time. In addition, there was a whole community of landscape architects, urban planners, students at school, really just a whole different group of people that all came together, and they decided everything for how the space looks. They decided paint colors. We all together, we decided what was going to be in the space. It was just a truly engaging opportunity, and that's something that is really rare. And again, just reemphasizing too the importance of this particular opportunity, being that the developer is giving the land over or offering to. This does not happen, and especially we're entering an era where developers are, really trying to make a lot of money, using all of the space they can within their property, and this is just a really rare opportunity to receive that land in a donation, and just want to reemphasize again how important that is. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more speakers that would like to speak that has not spoken? Okay, with that said, this part of the speaking portion is now closed. Anyone else like to speak before I close it? Officially closed. Thank you.
Next order of business.
Yeah. Can we do new business, Mr. Clerk?
We have communicate.
My brother colleague's initial order, motion to move the order for 212 Congress up for a vote.
Yeah, it's already been rejected on your motion, so we have to wait till it to come up in the business of the order.
I'm sorry, what?
So since you rejected, you did not want it to go forward at that point, it goes back into the original order and it comes up as it was.
Really? Jesus, okay.
We have communications from the city manager. First communication, notice of residency waiver intent. Pursuant to the Administrative Code, Section 112.02, I am writing to notify you of my intention to hire Ms. Christine Delano of Medford, Massachusetts, for the position of DPW E911 Business and Grants Manager, and to grant her a waiver from the residency requirement set forth in the Administrative Code.
What's the will of the council?
Accept and file a communication on the suspension if there are no objections.
So done. Thank you, Counselor. Next communication, please.
The next communication from the city manager, notice of residency waiver. Dear councilors, pursuant to the Administrative Code 112.02, I'm writing to notify you that it is my intention to hire Mr. Marco Palma of Revere, Mass. As one of our part-time temporary COVID ambassadors, and to grant him a waiver from the residency requirement.
Mr. President, I ask that we adopt unanimously under suspension if there are no objections.
Thank you, Counselor Vito. So ruled.
Accept and file a communication, my apologies.
The next communication from the city manager, pursuant to an Administrative Code, Section 112.02, I'm writing to notify you of my intention to hire Mr. Richard T. Seeker, Jr. of Malden, Massachusetts, for the position of full-time E911 dispatcher, and to grant him a waiver from the residency
Accept and file a
requirement.
communication under
Counselor
suspension
DeVoe,
if there are no
accept and file
objections.
under suspension. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next communication, Mass Works Grant and COPS Grant. Dear councilors, I'm writing to inform you about two significant grants that the city received last week. Funding for Lower Broadway. First, the city was awarded a $4 million Mass Works grant for our revitalization downtown Lower Broadway construction project. Then the money will be utilized for the underground utility work that involves new water and sewer pipes for the area of Lower Broadway from City Hall to William Street. Unfortunately, it looks like the cost of this utility work may exceed $10 million, far more than the city originally anticipated. As you may recall, the city expects to get full funding for the work involving street, sidewalk, and drainage from federal highway funds distributed through the state's Transportation Improvement Plan, just as we did for Upper Broadway. But on these federal highway projects, underground water and sewer work is always the responsibility of the local municipality. Given the escalating cost of this underground work, I will be seeking to redirect $5 million in ARPA funding from the Cary Ave reconstruction project to this Lower Broadway project. The City Council originally approved this capital request in the FY23 CIP. I expect to have that transfer request to the City Council sometime in early 2023. Although Cary Ave is an important project, it does not have the same priority as Lower Broadway. The $5 million in ARPA funding we directed from Cary Ave, plus another $1.75 million available from the MWRA on very favorable terms. 75% grant, 25% no interest loan for 10 years should allow us to meet the approximately $10 million utility cost for Lower Broadway. Funding for 3 new police officers. The city has secured a U.S. Department of Justice Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services grant for 3 additional police officers. The grant is $375,000 spread over 3 years. This will allow the city to increase the contingent from the current 111 officers to 114. Pursuant to the terms of the grant, 2 of the officers...
Councilor Robinson is recognized.
Accept and file a communication on the suspension, just notifying us on the project.
Accept and file under suspension.
The next communication from the city manager, gift of land at 212 Congress Avenue. I am writing to request the city council consider accepting a gift of land for open space purposes. The specific parcel is located at 212 Congress Avenue. If accepted for this purpose, the land will be developed into a park to advance the city's open space goals.
Councilor Recupero is recognized. No, you can't adopt it under suspension.
Yeah, the communication he can.
Okay, accept and file the communication.
business.
I'd like to
speak
on.
But you want to speak on new business.
So it's coming up later. If you want, you can speak on it now, and you can speak on it later. So it's your choice.
Okay, I'll wait, I'll speak on it later when we vote on it.
You want to do that?
That's his wish.
I could take it out of order and speak on it, right? Can we vote on both of them right now?
Council Recupero is asking that the order be taken out of order and vote, and suggested to be voted on now. Any objection? Okay,
Okay.
you have the floor, Councilor.
I've lived in that area for 44 years. It's a good thing. I'm in favor of making it a park. It's a good thing. But I have something to ask whoever to make it a park. I also spoke to a lot of residents, and they would like to see some type of parking for the park. They wouldn't have to have some parking. There just cannot be a straight park. It would have to have some parking. And that's the only request that people have, that they would like to see some parking going along with it. And that's the otherwise, it's a great thing. That lot's been empty all these years. Now it's gonna be utilized, and it's gonna be done very well, and all the people of the area are gonna benefit from it. So I will be voting in favor of this to give it to them.
Any other councilor like to speak on the order?
We need a motion.
So, Councilor Vito.
I just want to thank everybody for coming. It's very rare that we see so many people coming for anything that has to do with environmental justice. So it kind of really just warms my heart. So I just want to shout out Green Roots for their work, and all the neighbors and the organizing that's been happening in that neighborhood, for you all to show up today and advocate for ourselves. Thank you.
Councilor Lopez.
Yes, I want to thank you, Green Roots, and all the people that came here tonight. I'm actually, when the last commissioner of DPW was here, I was complaining about that area being a dump. They always throw tires, all kind of trash, and the vegetation was so grow that I always was asking to cut it and clean up, and I'm glad that Green Roots is getting it and bringing it up to a new park in the city. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak? Councilor Maldonado.
I also want to piggyback on one of what my colleagues have mentioned. I also want to commend all the community members and Green Roots, and thank you for being here. As someone that, you know, environmental justice is something that's very near and dear to my heart, and when I see community members getting together in designing what they want to see and having a true vision process, that is like, that's why I'm here, actually, because I, similar to this young lady that spoke up, have been part of organizing processes just like that. So I'm very thrilled to see young people taking the stand and speaking up as well. And so thank you very much for this beautiful moment. Thank you.
Councilor Garcia.
Good evening. I just want to thank everyone who showed up tonight. And I know that you guys have busy schedules, but you are here fighting for something that I used to fight for when I was 14 with Roseanne and Gladys, fighting for environmental justice. I actually was part of the first community garden in Chelsea, Massachusetts, so I commend you guys for making this huge change. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this park. I will be there. So thank you. Thank you.
So before we go for the vote, I just want to thank, Councilor Taylor.
I also just want to say that whenever residents take an interest in their own neighborhood and actually, you know, speak up and do something, that is very commendable. I'm happy that you guys are doing it, and this is the way we transform our community, by taking an interest and not just, you know, sitting around in your house or whatever it is, you know, be a part of something, make a difference. You be the change. Thank you.
Councilor Robinson.
I just want to congratulate the group on their effort to turn us into a park. We do need parks in our community very, very much. And I just also want to acknowledge I got a communication from Jimmy Dwyer, longtime resident over there, who sent a communication to me, and I just wanted to acknowledge that. And I want to thank you for being here tonight.
So, yes, thank you all for being here tonight, taking out of your time to come here to let us hear what your desires are for that area. We've spoken also and heard from the district council. So tonight, our task here is just to accept the gift that's being offered to the city. And I'm sure if we accept the gift in favorable, the next step would to be going into the meeting. I'm sorry, excuse me.
If you want to step down, I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we should be voting on the
We're
matter.
just voting, that's what I'm saying. We're
Yep.
getting ready to vote.
Ready?
Yes.
A yes vote will be to accept the parcel 212. A no vote would be not to accept it. Councilor Recupero.
Yes, yes.
Councilor Teneri Garcia.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Taylor.
Yes.
Councilor Lopez.
Yes.
Councilor Vega Maldonado.
Claro que sí, yes.
Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Councilor Vido.
Yes.
Councilor De Jesus absent. Councilor Judy Garcia absent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in favor. The parcel is accepted.
Motion passed.
All set?
Yes. Next order of business,
Next
Mr.
order,
Chair.
Communications and petitions to the council. We have a copy of communication received from Parking Clerk Jeanette Citron White with regards to Traffic and Parking Commission meeting held on October 4th.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson.
We have a communication from Jeanette Citron White, Parking Clerk, for Traffic and Parking Commission meeting held on November 1st.
What's the will of the council?
Set to
Parking
file a
clerk?
communication under suspension if there are no objections.
There's no such, accept the communication
Accept the
under
file, yeah.
file?
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilor.
Okay, the next order of business is committee reports. We have a committee report from Co-Chair Damali Vido on the replacement of the Administrative Assistant to the City Council office. Dear colleagues of the City Council, the Special Interview Subcommittee comprised of Councilors Todd Taylor, Norelise De Jesus, and myself, Chair, met and interviewed Jessica Carminetti on October 25th for the position of Administrative Assistant. After a successful interview, we recommend to the City Council the hiring of Jessica to fill the position of City Council Administrative Assistant with an annual three-step 6 salary of $55,820.
Move to adopt by roll call vote,
So,
and I'd like to speak on it.
okay, you got the floor.
Briefly, I just want the public to know this is for our administrative assistant position. We haven't had the best of luck. The two young folks that we had hired, both of them had declined the position. Luckily, we had someone that came in through a temporary agency that actually really, she fit well. She did an amazing job, and so we decided to offer her the position. She's a Chelsea resident, and so I'm really excited that our office is starting to get the strength it needs. She's extremely organized, has already started to do a bunch of things in the office that is going to benefit the office in the future. So I'm super excited to continue to work with her. And I want to thank my colleagues, Councilor Taylor and Councilor De Jesus, who were on the subcommittee with me and going through the interview process. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? Okay, roll call for the adoption.
Okay. A yes vote would be to affirm the appointment. Councilor Recupero.
Yes.
Councilor Teneri Garcia.
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Councilor Taylor.
Yes.
Councilor Lopez.
Yes.
Councilor Vega Maldonado.
Yes.
Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Councilor Vido.
Yes.
Councilor De Jesus absent, Councilor Garcia absent. 8 in favor, none opposed, 2 absent.
Congratulations, Jessica.
Okay. Now we'll go on to second readings. Let me see where we are. First item under second reading is the appointments to the Cultural Council. Mr. Alex Barcasel and 49 Cook Ave to fill the remaining term of Catherine Cabral. And the next one was Mr. Sean Mahoney, 220 Spencer Ave, Chelsea, to fill the remaining term of Juliana Borgiani Geiger.
What's the will of the council?
Roll call vote on the adoption if there are no objections.
Thank you, Council. Thanks for a roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilor Recupero? Yes. Councilor Teneri Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilor Taylor?
Yes.
Councilor Lopez?
Yes.
Councilor Vega Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilor Brown?
Yes.
Councilor Vido?
Yes.
Councilor De Jesus absent, Councilor Garcia absent, 8 in favor, none opposed, 2 absent. The next order is an order that the city owns, this is a second reading, that the city owns space known as Boston Playground, which is located at 50 Bellingham Street and documented as parcel ID 3023 on the city assessor map. Whereas Boston Playground will be preserved as open space in perpetuity pursuant to Massachusetts General Law of the Massachusetts Constitution and will be recorded as evidence by the property's deed, which is categories under book number 3351, page 443, 438 in the Suffolk County Registry of Deeds. The priorities detailed in the city's 2017-2024 Open Space and Recreation Plan include the renovation of the city's most heavily used recreational facilities, such as Boston Playground, to provide active recreational opportunities for all ages, take advantage of Chelsea environment, culture, and scenic resources.
I'm sorry.
You
Can
want
we
me to
waive
read
the
the,
rest
you
of
want me
the
to read the
reading?
order part?
Yeah,
where the
will you
money is
please?
involved? Ordered by this vote, the Chelsea City
Also, I'm
Council.
so sorry, Paul, but just, I don't want to be nitpicky, but one of the whereases has the wrong amount, and I just want to make sure that it says 400, and this is comma missing. I don't
This
want to be
part?
petty, but I just want to name it.
What does she want?
Yeah, what number are you talking about?
It's
What
the
number are
1,
you
2,
seeing?
3, 4, 5, 6, the sixth paragraph.
Right here is 400, what is it? Yeah. It's missing one of the zeros here. She's saying whereas here it's 400, it's 4000 and missing one of the third one. All right, make a note for that. Thank you.
Make a note of what?
It's just missing a zero here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let me go down to the last part. Ordered by this vote, the Chelsea City Council endorses this project. The receipt of park grant funds appropriates the balance of the estimated total project cost of $1,450,000 from the General Stabilization Fund, designated Boston Playground as open space parkland in perpetuity in accordance with Article 97 of the Massachusetts Constitution of the Massachusetts General Laws. Authorizes the city manager to utilize any surplus funds for current and future PASICs funded improvements for the open space within the city of Chelsea, certifies the city manager's authority to enter into agreement for the receipt of these funds, and directs the city manager to take any and all necessary action to accomplish the project.
What's the will of the council?
If there are no objections,
Okay, roll call vote on the adoption. Anyone like to speak on the matter? Ask for a roll call, Mr. Chair.
What?
Councilor
No.
Recu-
We're calling the roll call.
Yes, sounds
Oh.
great.
Councilor Recupero?
Yes.
Councilor Teneri Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
yes.
Councilor Taylor?
Yes.
Councilor Lopez? Councilor Vega Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilor Brown?
Yes.
Councilor Vido?
Yes.
And Councilor De Jesus absent, Councilor Judy Garcia absent, 8 in favor, none opposed, motion is adopted. And you have the final amended version of the acceptance of a grant. Whereas the city of Chelsea has purchased a vacant parcel at 88 Clinton Street in order to convert it to additional public open space, a city priority identified in the most recent open space and recreation plan.
Councilor Robinson.
Ordered that this vote, Chelsea City Council endorses the project for the receipt of the LWCF grant funds, appropriates the balance of the total project cost, $875,000 from the General Stabilization Fund, designates 88 Clinton Street as open space parkland in perpetuity in accordance with Article 97 of the Massachusetts
Councilor
General Laws.
Robinson, you
Yeah, if
have a
we-
motion?
Right, if we could just go to the second page and read the second whereas and go to the order, I think that should be sufficient.
Second reading, you just want to go.
Second paragraph.
Yeah, the second whereas.
The renovation of this facility is estimated to cost $875,000, and the city will be reimbursed $349,436.50 under the WCF grant requirements.
And if
Mr. Will of the council?
If we can just go to the order and ask for a roll call vote on the adoption, if there are no objections.
Roll call on adoption of the grant.
We already bought it, right? We didn't buy it yet?
Yes.
I think we bought it.
Councilor Recupero?
Yes.
Councilor Teneri Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Councilor Taylor?
Yes.
Councilor Eniel Lopez?
Yes.
Councilor Vega Maldonado? Councilor Brown?
Yes.
Councilor Vido?
Yes.
Councilor De Jesus absent. Councilor Judy Garcia absent. 8 in favor, none opposed, 2 absent.
Thank you, councilors. Needed those days.
New business.
Okay, on to new business.
First item under new business. Order introduced by Councilor Recupero, requested the Department of Public Works look into a concerning matter between Charlotte Ave and Shirtliff Street on Central Ave. There are water retaining in front of the laundromat that needs to be addressed. This matter needs to be assessed in order to resolve the existing problem.
Adopt under suspension if there's no objection, I'd like to speak on it.
Adopt under suspension. Councilor, you have the floor.
When they did this road, they made them, they messed up somehow, and the water is retained, always in that place. So, I would like the city's engineer to go back, or whoever did the road, to find out why the water is being retained in front of that laundromat all the time. And I would like to know how they're gonna fix it, if they're gonna rectify the situation, if they're gonna fix it, and when they're gonna fix it. Thank you.
Councilor, would you like to go to a certain department?
I'm sorry?
Would you like it to go to a certain department for a response?
DPW.
Thank you, Councilor. Next order of business, please.
Request order introduced by Councilor Recupero, requested the Traffic and Parking Commission look into putting a stop sign on Essex Street and Pearl Street.
Like to adopt that under suspension. If there's no objection, I'd like to speak on it.
You got the floor, so speak, Councilor.
Ever since we had a study, I don't know, we got reports on Park Street, Pearl Street, that whole area. It's congested, you can't drive through it, and there's only one way to go up Essex Street, which is one way, and you can only go up that way. But you cannot go up that way anymore, especially during traffic time, because you can't go up there. It's blocked every second, and everything is congested. So they have a sign, a stop sign on the opposite side, on Park Street. Now they should be able to put one on Pearl Street, which will try to alleviate some of the congestion going up Essex Street, because that's the only way to go up. If you don't alleviate some of the congestion that's there, people that live in that area would have to go all the way around. And I'm one of them. I live there, and it's very hard for me to get there. And I can tell you how it is because I live there. Not only do I live there, and a lot of people live there, and we having such a hard time to get to where we live in. So the city should fix the situation, because it always says it wants to help the resident of Chelsea. Here's your opportunity to help the resident of Chelsea. Fix the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Next order of business. Anyone else like to speak on the order?
Order introduced by Councilor Recupero. Requested a subcommittee and conference be held to discuss the new trash regulations. Affects everyone in the community.
I'd like to adopt under suspension. If there's no objection, I'd like to speak on it.
You have the floor, Counselor, under suspension.
I don't know if everybody in our city knows the new regulations that's being implemented in our city for trash. So if you don't know, I'm gonna tell you, you cannot throw mattresses out and you cannot throw any type of textiles or shoes. That's the thing you have now that's coming in. It went in effect November 1st. So the city has 311 that tells you call them and they come and pick up your mattress or they come and pick up your textiles or whatever it is they're gonna. But I believe, maybe the system works, but I believe that we should have a subcommittee and talk about, because every time you throw a mattress, you gotta go 311. They should have a designated time during a month where you throw them. And when you have a designated time, not only would you have everybody puts it out at the same time and picks it up, but also any resident of the city of Chelsea should go to city and go get herself a little sticker to throw the mattress. Because how do we know that these people that are not living in our city are dumping mattresses in our city? So anybody can call and say, I got a mattress in front of 250 Congress, and now could you pick it up? 311 sends someone to pick it up. So how do you know that that person actually lives in our city and wants to get rid of his mattress? Maybe 311 might work great, but I believe that we are paying for trash. People in this city pay for trash. So in return, they should be allowed to throw your mattress for free. But with one exception, you should go get a little sticker. So when you go there, a person that lives in one house can't throw 55 mattresses out in 1 month. So I think we should have a subcommittee and talk about it, where who's actually throwing these mattresses and the textiles are actually city residents. Because, and this is the new rules now, remember people, you cannot throw your mattress unless you call 311. You have to call 311 and they'll come and pick it up. And you cannot throw shoes, clothes, and towels, any kind of textiles. So you have to put them in a separate bin altogether from the regulations that they have. So I believe that we should have a subcommittee and maybe think of a better way for all of us to make it more efficient and more better for the people of our city.
Counselor, you had that under suspension. Are you asking us to go to a subcommittee? Or?
Subcommittee, yes. And talk about it.
All set?
Yes.
Order introduced by Councilor Vido. Order that a subcommittee be held to introduce the new police chief and hear of his priorities.
Move to adopt unanimously under suspension if there are no objections.
Okay, Counselor, adopt under unanimous. You would like to speak on it?
Nope, it's pretty clear.
Next order introduced by Councilor Vido. Order that a subcommittee and conference be scheduled to discuss public safety and cleanliness of parks, playgrounds throughout the city.
I'd like to adopt unanimously under suspension if there are no objections, and this I'd like to speak on.
Go ahead.
You got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I'm ordering that we have a subcommittee on conference to discuss public safety and the cleanliness of parks. This is a conversation that happened a few months ago when we met with Recreational Department and with DPW, and we had the DPW commissioner at the time, and we were talking about we needed to keep an eye on some of these parks. But over the summer, we had issues where the soccer field was not being rented out to leagues because there was some damage in the fields, yet adults were still using the fields illegally, and there was tons of issues that we were having. People were drinking there, people will go down there, and there was a whole machete fight one night. Some of our DPW workers even were threatened for going into the park to try and clean it. So we have a huge issue here, and this isn't just a DPW issue. This isn't just a recreational department issue. This is also a public safety issue. This is a everything issue. Because when we would have,
You can ask for permission to speak.
when we would have meetings, I'm sorry, I got distracted by you. When we have spoken in the past with other departments, it was, what am I talking about? I'm having a senior moment. Everybody just bear with me.
Okay.
We're talking about the parks, we're talking about people, adults using the fields illegally, causing fights, creating a nuisance, and when we had meetings here to talk about police details and the potential of having civilian flaggers, everybody was against it, but yet police details weren't willing to take some of the shifts on the weekends when it was a parking lot, you couldn't even get into the parking lot at the Boys and Girls Club. It's an issue that Mr. Recupero, Councilor Lopez have brought up, and this is a huge systemic issue, and we really need to get to the bottom of it. And to amplify this, I just want to acknowledge School Committee Woman Clariangelis Covas, who's here in the back, because she has been reaching out and working with our previous DPW commissioner to try to figure out what we can do about these parks. She's taken it upon herself to clean one of these parks, but there's needles, there's debris that she can't, so she needs resources from the city. So what I'm trying to do here is try to bring everybody to the table. I'm not sure who needs to be here, maybe everyone needs to be here. We tend to think that we have all the answers, but like, I think this is an opportunity for us to talk to DPW guys and tell us, what are the problem parks? Are there people in this community that are willing to help out? Can we offer them trash bags, rakes, gloves, so that they can help out? Because clearly, the capacity and the manpower that we have is not sufficient to take care of these parks. And my main concern is parks near the ELC or where there are schools where we have needles and people hanging out that shouldn't be hanging out, and we need to keep these parks clean. So if we're not willing to do it, let's try to enable other people within the community to do it because they are willing to. So I'm just trying to figure out how to organize this. If any of my counselors have any ideas, I'm happy to entertain it. But this is a huge issue because our most vulnerable, our children are the ones that are really being exposed to all of this. And all of us, to be honest with you, because there were grown adults that couldn't even walk to Highland Park because they were being threatened by people that are sitting there drinking and getting high all day. And it's fine, look, I did that in my youth, but we have to be able to protect our neighborhoods and protect our young people. So I am not gonna let this go away, Mr. Ambrosino. You said we would talk about it later. I'm ready to talk about it, but I'm ready for us to come up with solutions because it's not fair to me that the people in these department heads, the people who are running these departments come and speak with us and tell us one thing, but then they go live in their city and it's us that are stuck with the dirty parts. So I'm not going to be quiet about this one. We need to regulate and we need to figure out what we do as a community. Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to the subcommittee. Anybody else want to speak on this? Thank you. Councilor.
I just want to ensure that this, I know that you highlighted that this is a public safety issue, and I agree. I've actually, full disclaimer, my husband is a police officer, and he's had a couple details there, and he's just in some of these, like Highland Park specifically, and he's described like how things have gotten aggressive there. It's dangerous, and it's true. Sometimes they have to you have to decipher whether to take a detail or do we have enough manpower, especially during the summer, and we don't. So I want to ensure that we also make sure that we have a chief and police officers there to also share their experiences. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak on the matter? Okay. Thank you.
Next order introduced by Councilor Brown. Now therefore be it ordered that a meeting of the Subcommittee on Conference be held to go over the applications submitted by the community members to fill the vacant councilor at-large position and discuss the procedure to select the finalist.
Chair recognizes Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to accept and file the communication under suspension and speak on it also.
You have the floor, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have before us tonight an order before the vacancy that was occurred from the resignation of Councilor at Large, Roy Avellaneda. We, in the past, had a order that was put forward. We asked the community that had interest on filling its vacancy to submit applications, intents to be considered for filling this vacancy. Since then, we gave a due date, which was November 4th, which has since passed, and I just believe that we have about 12, is it 12 applications? 14 applications. Now I want to call at some point a meeting that we can actually go over those applications, sit down and talk about procedures. How do we go forward in addressing how we would like to do as a body to get the finalists for the at-large position. There's a lot for us as a city council to talk about. One, we would have to talk about what we need to do to make sure that each and every application or intent that was looked at, then figure out how do we set up the format of what we want to have interviews, we want to do nomination process or whatever, but we need all of us to come together. And the reason why I wanted to be in the subcommittee on conference, so for all those city councilors that want to be there could be there. I did not want to just designate 3 or 4 councilors to make a determination who should be the next city council at large. The residents has put their applications out there. It's time for us now to figure out the procedure, go forward, and then hopefully at the end of the day, we can fill that vacancy that was incurred by councilor at large. Roy Avellaneda. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other speakers on the matter?
I'm just curious, through the chair, if there's, what we can tell the public about when they can expect to hear from us, or what the president is thinking in terms of a timeline?
I refer that question to Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, the meeting is just, the notification is just so we can get together and figure out the date that we want to have a subcommittee. Once we have that subcommittee, I'm hoping at our next meeting we'll be able to say this date, December 4th, December 5th, or December 11th. We're going to have subcommittee. We're going to have everyone on board, notice in advance, and that anyone would like to come and listen to that discussion, it will be open to the public.
So we don't expect to do this before the Thanksgiving break?
He gave the dates.
In December, so, okay.
Tentative.
Okay.
And it's a position that is named by the whole city council. There's no subcommittee or anything. It's all 11 members, or 10 members, I should say.
And everything will be public.
Next order of business.
The last order of business, order introduced by Councilor Lopez, requested the city manager and Department of Public Commission sends a crew to clean up and cut the overgrown vegetation on both sides of Eastern Avenue through Central Avenue all the way to the train tracks.
Councilor Lopez.
Adopted on the suspension. If there's no objection, would like to speak?
Seeing no objection, the order is adopted.
Yes, I put this order because I saw how Eastern Avenue was, but I understand that it was done, so thank you very much to the city manager and DPW director. Thank you.
Any public announcements? Any moments of silence? You have an announcement, Councilor Vidal?
I just want to remind everybody that tomorrow is Election Day. I hope that a lot of people did vote early. I want to wish luck to my sister counselor and my brother counselor who are both on the ticket. And I hope that our new state representative, as this is our opportunity to finally have a representative, does whatever they can to adequately represent this entire community at the state level. It's been a long time since we've had a voice up there for Chelsea. So I just wanted to congratulate you all and wish everyone luck, and I hope everybody gets out to vote.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other speakers on the matter? Seeing no further business before this council, we are adjourned.